And I arrived in China not having studied anything about China. There were no Chinese or Asian studies courses at South African universities when I was a student. So I arrived in 1995 with an English teaching job and lived in a workers' dormitory on the outskirts of Beijing. In a dormitory with a bunch of migrant workers from Anhui and Henan, and a toilet that had 50 squat toilets with no walls between them. So I was constipated for a couple of weeks. So that was my introduction to China. So, I mean, in some ways, everything just kept on getting better, and I shouldn't any complaints.
Managing expectations.
So, I mean, I was really a complete naive when I arrived. I felt at the time that I was like a baby. I didn't know what the food was. I couldn't use chopsticks. I couldn't read. I couldn't speak. And it was all new, and I didn't really have any expectations. And I mean, the first thing that amazed me and that I'm still, very happy about was that Chinese people weren't inscrutable people without a sense of humor. And, arriving in Beijing, which is a place with a very bawdy sense of humor, where people like to swear and tell dirty jokes, was just completely confounded my expectations. But I too, I think, felt from the time I arrived, really, 1995, until I think 2009, that it was a place that, there were a lot of hopeful things, not just about making money, but lots of different things that were going on. And I also felt throughout that time that I kind of had a good sense of where China was going. I sort of felt like I know what next year is going to be like. And then there was the Olympics, the global financial crisis, and then Xi Jinping. And now I kind of feel as though I don't know what the hell is going on there. Sometimes I'm convinced by arguments saying China's going to collapse tomorrow. And sometimes I'm convinced by arguments saying, well, it's not. It's got to go through this period because the economy has to rebalance. A lot of restructuring is going to have to take place. There's all this, the benefits of the last 30 years, but that economic model doesn't work anymore, and it's just going to be a tough time. So I certainly have, I feel as though the last few years I've had to sort of be humbled by the fact that, living there straight for 20 years, I still really, don't know what I'm talking about.
By the way, that would be the most honest book title about it.
There is the old joke about if you go to China for a month, you can write a book. If you go there for a year, you can write an article. And if you stay longer than 5 years, you can't even write a postcard.
I don't think Evan finds that funny, though.
Sorry. Somebody else's joke.
Right. I like it. I'll await your book.
It'll be a good postcard, Evan.